Just wanted to mention the week of I-500 is Bud Clark Week, and specifically the Monday before the race day is Bud Clark Day in the city of Sault Ste. Marie. And we'll certainly mention that when we meet on the, I believe it's the 2nd of February, race day, February 2nd. And we'll talk just a little bit about Mishkanska and as we get to that item and under communications. So with that, I think we can start. Item number 1 is public comment on scheduled agenda items. Any person may reserve time to speak on an agenda item not to exceed 3 minutes per person. Is there anyone in the audience like to speak on an agenda item? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to the consent agenda. City Clerk, please.
Under the consent agenda, A, minute approval. 1, approval of the minutes of the regular City Commission meeting of January 5th. Recommended action, approve the minutes of the regular City Commission meeting of January 5th, 2015. Item 2, acceptance of the minutes of the following boards and commissions. A, Downtown Development Authority, August 13th, September 10th, and November 12th of 2014. B, Economic Development Corporation of August 12th, 2014. And C, Sault Ste. Marie Housing Commission of November 20th, 2014. Recommended action, accept the minutes of the various boards and commissions. Item B, appointments and resignations. 1, reappointment to the Airport Advisory Board. Recommended action, reappoint Tom Viam, Tom Brown, and Bill Munsell to the Airport Advisory Board for a term to expire January 1, 2019. Item 2, reappointment to the Sault Ste. Marie Local Finance Development Authority. Recommended action, confirm the mayor's reappointment of Dan Riator and Kristen Collins to the LDFA Board for a term to expire December 31st, 2018. Item C, communications. 1, from the Downtown Development Authority, authorization to submit a MCACA mini grant application for music in the park. Recommended action, authorize the mayor to execute MCACA mini grant application for the DDA Music in the Park with the 50% local matching, utilize the Music in the Park funds for the local match. Item 2 under communications is from the Diane Pepler Resource Center. Request to place white ribbons along Ashman Street and Portage Avenue from Ashman Street to Osborne Street from February 2nd, 2015 through February 16th, 2015. Recommended action, allow the placement of white ribbons along Ashman Street and Portage Avenue from Ashman Street to Osborne Street from February 2nd through February 16th, 2015. Item D, City Manager's Report. 1, approval of the City of Sault Ste. Marie Personnel Policy Handbook. Recommended action, approve the City of Sault Ste. Marie Personnel Policy Handbook as amended. Item 2 under the City Manager's Report is authorization for a submission of a 2015 body armor grant application to the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs. Recommended action, authorize the submission of a 2015 body armor grant application to the Department of Justice.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any commissioner who would like something further explained on the consent agenda or something taken off to be further explained? Commissioner Stefanski?
So moved that the commission approve the consent agenda.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions? All those in favor, signify. Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bospas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Motion carried. And at this time, item C2 under communications was the Diane Pepler Resource Center, and there are a few people here that would just like to make a presentation and also just tell us a little bit about the White Ribbon Campaign. So we have Betsy, Mallory, and Kathy. If they'd come to the podium, we'd appreciate it.
Hello again. It's been almost a year since I've been here. I am Mallory Krizinga, and I am the teen prevention educator at Diane Pepler Resource Center, as well as I coordinate the sexual violence prevention team of the Eastern Upper Peninsula, all 3 counties. Today I would like to explain to you again the White Ribbon Campaign. It began in Canada in about 1991, and it was a group of men working to end violence against women and children. And it has spread over to 60 countries, and we were lucky enough, the SVP team, to bring this for the past 6 years to Sault Ste. Marie. And we have spread it out to Mackinac and Luce counties in some years. And we would like to further do this more and more with your guys' help and permission and support. So, thank you, and I would also like to introduce our new executive director.
Thanks.
Hello, everyone. My name is Betsy Huggett, and I am the new Executive Director for Diane Pepler Resource Center. I came to Diane Pepler from Great Lakes Recovery Centers, where I was for 9 years, worked in substance abuse rehab. So it's not really much of a transition for me to want to continue to help the people of our area overcome some difficulties that they've been having in their lives, try to do things for them to help them better themselves. I just wanted to introduce myself and say hello to everyone. And thank you very much for your support. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and Kathy is around giving gifts to the commission. We'll let Kathy do that. And we certainly have been participating for a number of years in the White Ribbon Campaign, and the education benefits of that. And you're again at Lake Superior State University. What days are those?
Oh, I'm sorry. We've actually stretched it out. Sioux Firehawks will be February 7th, and then you will have our LSSU Whiteout with Violence February 13th at 7.
February 13th at 7:30 at
Yes.
Lake State? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Special orders of business.
Item 3, special orders of business. A, public hearing on confirmation of special assessment roll for sidewalk replacement on Easter Day Avenue, SW-01-14.
Okay, thank you. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. At its November 3rd, 2014 regular meeting, the City Commission conducted a public hearing of necessity for the East Easter Day Avenue sidewalk replacement project. The City Commission declared this project to be necessary at the time and scheduled a public hearing regarding the confirmation of a special assessment roll for this project to be held during this meeting. In order to comply with the hearing requirements of Chapter 21, Special Assessments, a notice of the public hearing on the special assessment roll for this project has been sent to each affected property owner advising them of their respective assessment amounts, time and place for the public hearing, and the method of collecting special assessments. A notice of the public hearing was also published in the Sioux Evening News, and to date, no written objections have been received regarding this project or the assessments. The total amount to be collected through the special assessment would be $12,032.54. These collections would offset the total project cost of approximately $25,000. Accordingly, there are two recommendations associated with this agenda item. The first being that the mayor conduct a public hearing on the confirmation of special assessment roll SW-01-14 for the East Easter Day sidewalk project at a special assessment cost of $4.17 per square foot, with the cost being spread over a 10-year period with an interest rate of 6% being paid and applied to the unpaid balance of the special assessment annually. The second recommendation would be that the City Commission confirm special assessment roll SW-01-14 for the East Easter Day sidewalk project, establishing a special assessment cost of property owners at $4.17 per square foot, with those costs being spread over a 10-year period at an interest rate of 6% being applied to the annual unpaid balance.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, we will hold a public hearing on the confirmation of special assessment roll SW-01-14 for the Easter Day Avenue sidewalk project as explained by the city manager. Is there anyone in the audience like to make a comment at this time? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. City Commission. Commissioner Twardy.
I move that the City Commission confirm special assessment roll SW-01-14 for the Easter Day sidewalk project, establishing a special assessment cost to the property owners at $4.17 per square foot, with these costs being spread over a 10-year period, with an interest rate of 6% being annually spread over the unpaid balance of the special assessment.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? A roll call, please.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Boswis?
Yes. Motion carried.
The next item is item 4, communications. A, from Mayor Boswis, report on the 2015 Mishkanska tour.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to make sure everyone in the community knew what was going on with the Mishkanska world tour. And I think 2011, the initial Miskanska, Michigan, Canada, Alaska tour left by circling the I-500 and then heading to Tok, Alaska, 4,000-mile trip by snowmobile, which was successful. We had 22 riders start out on the trip. I don't believe everyone completed the trip at different times, but I think they had a significant number, like 16 to 18 people actually made that 4,000-mile trip. That was the year that we didn't have a lot of snow in the north, and many times they were riding the ditches where the snow might accumulate, and they had to trailer some of the time, but it was I think it was 22 days, and it was a heck of a trip. And now they've had one other trip that wasn't as significant a year ago. I think it was a year ago they went around the Lake Superior, a portion of it. This year they're going to leave an I-500 day, a lap around the I-500 track before the race, and then they're going to head to Ontario, and then they're going to fly to Europe, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Russia, and then end up in St. Petersburg, Russia. And we have a key to the city going to be presented to them. This is all in the name of diabetes research. The Miskanska initial tour raised about $110,000, and Bill Bradfield, the person that sort of started this whole thing out of Cadillac, Michigan, always wanted to leave from the Sioux. And they continue to use the I-500 as the starting point, and we are just happy to oblige. And on the Friday before the I-500, which is the 6th, at 7 p.m., everyone is invited to the CC Hall at 7 o'clock for the dinner, and it's a donation of $10, and that money will go toward their goal. So we encourage folks to show up at the Christopher Columbus Hall on Sheridan Drive on the 6th of February, which is a Friday night at 7 o'clock, and then that following Saturday is the I-500, but they'll do a lap and then head out from there. So we certainly wish them well, and we'll say a little bit more about this on the 2nd when we meet again. But it's coming up, as we all know. Winter tends to fly by, at least in my eyes, and just a comment about today's weather with the blue sky, sunshine, 10 above to 10 below. I'll take as many days as they want to give us of that kind of weather. So as long as we have snowfall, we need the snowfall too. So anyway, anyone have any questions of the Miskanska tour? They've gone by that name, and they continue to just. Nothing is out of limits, I guess, for where they can go, and they tend to tell about diabetes research and diabetes and the amount of people affected and that kind of stuff. So Bill Bradfield leads that charge, and it's great that they use Sault Ste. Marie as the starting point. Thank you.
The next item under communications is from the Planning Commission. Recommendation to approve with conditions a revised request submitted by MCM Properties LLP to rezone parcel numbers 051-154-600-00 and the west 30 feet of parcel number 051-154-598-00 from tourist to industrial.
Thank you. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. As commissioners are aware, MCM Properties LLP submitted a request to rezone approximately 9.4 acres of property that it owns from tourist to industrial I-2 in May 2014. This application was first heard by the city's Planning Commission at its June 26, 2014 meeting. At that meeting, a number of residents spoke in opposition to the request, citing not only their concerns about additional impacts from MCM Marine's operations, but also concerns about future impacts from more intensive industrial uses, which could occupy the property in the future should it be rezoned. Additionally, many residents also spoke about long-standing issues with junk and debris on the property, as well as long grass and weeds. After hearing from staff, who recommended denial, and the public, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend to the City Commission that this rezoning request be denied. The application was next considered by the City Commission at its July 7, 2014 regular meeting. A number of members of the public spoke both for and against the application. After hearing a number of the same concerns expressed during this meeting that were expressed during the meeting of the Planning Commission, the City Commission adopted a motion to place the application on hold. The Commission instructed City staff and the applicant to work together to address the condition of the property. Since the July 7, 2014 City Commission meeting, City staff has met with MCM on a number of occasions and also conducted a comprehensive site walkthrough of its property in late August, where several areas for improvement were identified. Excuse me. As a result of that walkthrough, a letter was drafted by myself and Ordinance Enforcement Officer Brown noting the remaining violations on the property, as well as the actions that MCM would need to take to correct those violations. Of note within the letter was a request to provide a timeline to the city by MCM for the completion of the cleanup of the property by no later than September 13, 2014, a request to which MCM failed to respond by the date requested. On September 22, 2014, a second letter was sent reminding MCM that a plan to address the violations had yet to be received. A response from MCM was received right around the same time, stating it was their intention to remedy those violations no later than June 30, 2015. After internal discussions, a reply to MCM was sent by city staff which set forth 3 dates for MCM to obtain compliance with the city's ordinances. Items which city staff felt could be easily addressed were required to be complied with sooner than the other items which would otherwise require the aid of heavy equipment. A compromise date of May 15, 2015 was set for the ultimate correction of all of the ordinance violations. It was the intent of the staff to establish a deadline that was flexible, that attempted to achieve a balance between the business having the ability to address the cleanup throughout its continued operations and balance that with the need for the property to be cleaned up. While the cleanup work and associated discussions were occurring, MCM submitted a revised rezoning request in early October 2014. The revised request significantly reduced the area sought to be rezoned from tourist to I-2 from the original 9.4 acres to 2.7 acres. The Planning Commission considered this revised application at its December 4th, 2014 meeting. Once public commentary was concluded, there were no speakers in opposition during this meeting. The Planning Commission discussed the rezoning request and voted 5-3 to recommend to the City Commission that it be approved. The approval recommendation was contingent upon MCM incorporating the west 30 feet of parcel 051-154-598-00 into the parcel to its immediate west. After this Planning Commission meeting, staff met internally to discuss the outcome and to brainstorm possible alternatives to offer the City Commission different avenues that it could take beyond the regular approval or denial options. Through the course of this discussion, the possibility of creating a marine industrial or a marine services zoning district was discussed and established. By creating such a district, this would allow the permitted use list to be specifically tailored to suit the use of the property. Many of the uses which are permitted in I-2, such as factories, distribution warehouses, and other more intensive uses, would not be permitted in a hypothetical marine industrial or marine services zoning district, thereby removing a significant concern of staff and many of the surrounding property owners. Additional provisions could also be written into such a zoning district that cover outdoor storage, screening, setbacks, as well as any other aspects which the City Commission and/or Planning Commission feel necessary to mitigate off-site impacts. This approach could represent a fair compromise in which the interests of both the applicant and residents could be addressed. From my perspective, creating a zoning district such as this would not only meet the needs of the current property owner and guard against heavier industrial uses occurring on these properties, but would also work to ensure the working waterway in the city of Sault Ste. Marie is preserved and continues to accommodate marine service uses in strategically advantageous locations. Alternatively stated, creating a marine industrial zoning district would prevent this working waterfront property from being utilized by heavier industrial user in the future. From a procedural standpoint, if directed to pursue the creation of such a zoning district, staff would first draft applicable zoning regulations in conjunction with the Planning Commission. Once the Planning Commission made an approval recommendation on the language of such a zoning district, the City Commission would either adopt said regulations or direct staff to make additional changes. Once such a zoning district were to be created, MCM would be able to return to the Planning Commission, which could then consider a rezoning for these properties to the new district. Accordingly, it is my recommendation that the City Commission refer this rezoning request back to the Planning Commission and the administration so that the Planning Commission may consider and obtain additional information regarding the creation of a marine industrial or marine services zoning district. Alternatively, as an alternative to creating such a zoning district, it would be my recommendation as City Manager that the City Commission either postpone consideration of this request or take action to deny the rezoning request as submitted by MCM. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Lynn?
Yeah, I think it's an excellent recommendation. It's good for the city, it's good for MCM Marine, it's good for the neighbors. So I would therefore move the city commission refer this rezoning request back to the planning commission and the administration so that the planning commission may consider and obtain additional information regarding the creation of a marine industrial zoning district as highlighted therein.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Questions? Commissioner Bauer?
Actually, it's a comment and kind of a request. I would like us to dedicate some time during our upcoming goal-setting and visioning session to discuss this specifically and how this figures into our overall vision for the city. This is a big issue, but it's also, a small part of, of a larger piece. And what we really have to think of here in discussing this is how this fits in with everything else we're doing, or everything else we want to do.
Good point. Commissioner Shimmons?
I'm wondering if the property owners were notified that this was coming to the commission tonight.
That's
City
correct,
Manager.
Commissioner Shimmons. Following the discussion, the internal discussion regarding the possibility of creating the zoning district, our Planning and Zoning Administrator, Kelly Freeman, did reach out to the applicant and informed him of this potential avenue. He did not indicate that he would necessarily object to it, although I do believe that he would prefer the rezoning request to I-2 be carried on.
Actually, I wasn't speaking to that property owner. I was speaking to the property owners, the homeowners, that have voiced so strongly in opposition to doing anything to expand his ability to use that in that type of form. And personally, the fact that he has done virtually nothing to comply with the city's request for him to comply with the city ordinance regarding the condition of the property does not lend me to look upon that project favorably at all. And it does not conform to our master plan at all. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Just a comment, I guess, and I certainly would like to commend the staff, administration for the coming up with this kind of an ordinance. I think it reaches a compromise. I think we have some folks that have been in business an awful long time, employing people. I guess there's no question that the site needed some improvements, and they haven't moved as fast as we would like, but we've set some time frame, and I think we have to keep the foot to the fire, so to speak, going forward. And I think the administration is aware of that and is trying to go down that road with the applicant. And I think this is a decent compromise in both areas, so that I think it's just it's a win-win for everybody in my mind. So, Commissioner Tuarte.
Just one more question then. Would maybe the zoning commission plan on maybe holding this off until they've completed all their work as of what they've stated, July 2015? Is there any way that we can just kind of wait to make sure that they've completed all of their work until something like this gets created or approved?
City Manager.
Commissioner Tuarte, I do believe that because of the amount of time that it would take to draft provisions for such a zoning district, that by the time it were to be considered by the Planning Commission and City Commission, that it would be presented for consideration right around the same time of the deadline by which they need to complete all of their
Okay.
activities to clean up the property.
So we can make sure that the work has been done. Okay. Thank you.
Any other Commissioner Simmons?
I just think it's wrong for us to be going forward without giving the property owners, the homeowners, an opportunity for input and to know what is happening when they have felt so strongly.
Commissioner Lynn?
I believe when the planning commission has more hearings on it, they will be invited. They will be able to speak.
Without a doubt. That would.
Without a doubt.
Mhm.
I think that's the idea. Going back to the planning commission.
Anyone else? We have a motion and support. Everyone understand the motion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons?
No.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosmas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
The next item under communications is item C from Lisa Waskins, Superior District Library Director, presentation on Michigan Digital Newspaper Project.
Okay, thank you. Lisa? Now, Lisa has taken over for Ken.
I have. Excuse me. I came in middle of November, literally in the middle of a blizzard. So got in off the bridge and right into a whiteout. So we got baptism by fire. I come from the Chicago area. I started working in libraries 31 years ago. This is my 10th library and hopefully my last library. I hope to retire here. So I am looking forward to doing a lot of things with all of you and in the community. One of the things that the Bayless Public Library, one of the Superior District libraries, was included in 5 finalists to receive this newspaper grant. And it starts today, the voting. You can either tweet or vote by postcard. If you tweet, it's only 1 vote, but if you vote by a postcard, you get 100 votes. So we're kind of encouraging that. Or you can do both. There's no rules against that. You can't only submit 1 postcard, however, but you can submit more than 1 tweet. And we've got the hows and the whys here on the paper that Susan handed out. But we hope to be able to digitize some of our microfilm that is starting to show wear, and a lot of historians and genealogists use those resources. So it would be really nice to be able to put it in a more usable format. It would be more searchable and last a little bit longer for the public. So we're up against people like Traverse City and Alpena, and so we're really, want to put on a good show for Sault Ste. Marie. We're the only Upper Peninsula library in the contest. So. If anyone likes, we've got the postcards, we've got postage. Das Gift House has donated postcards. Jim Dwyer has donated postcards. We've got postage from people. We're just going all out on this. So, and then we've got our newsletter here. We've got some interesting programs coming up with at the library, at all of our member libraries. So take a look at that, and I thank you very much for your time. Did you have any questions? Or?
Any questions?
No? Thank you.
Some excellent newsletter. Yeah. And the Edmund Fitzgerald postcard?
Of that.
Everyone get the same one? Mm-hmm. Excellent. Thank you very much. And
And the last item under communications is item D from Dr. Tony McLean, Sister City Visit to Ryocho, Japan.
Dr. Tony McLean. And Missy.
Yes.
When-
In case you're wondering what her role is, she does all the detail work and most of the work itself. I give the speeches and take most of the credit. Listen, main thing we want to do today is raise the profile of our upcoming visit to Rio. This is an adult exchange, and we want to make sure everyone is aware of it. If you're not familiar with the program, it started in 1974 when Sault Ste. Marie became the 8th city in Michigan to establish a sister city in Japan. Most of them are in the Shiga Prefecture, and there are currently now 27 cities. So we still are a very small or a very large component of this program. And having talked to people from several other communities, I would say our program is probably one of the most active I know of. It has two primary activities: the adult exchange, which occurs every other year, where we send a delegation, and in the opposite years they send a delegation back, and it's been very successful. The second activity is our actually junior high school exchange, and in that one the junior high kids come here one year, and then we send a crew there the next year. That part of the program began in 1994, and we've had over 100 of our students visit Riacho. What makes this thing different from any typical tourist activity is the homestay. Instead of going there and staying in a motel, you stay with a family. And as you might expect, just like if, people, when they come here, each family is different. You might find a very traditional family, you might find a very modern family. We've stayed in both, and it's very interesting, very interesting. The importance of this thing, it's been around for a long time, and I see many faces here who have experienced it multiple times, both visiting, hosting, and just about every other angle. And let's see. Well, I'd really like to highly recommend that anybody who hears my voice, or if Scott happens to write anything in the paper, about this, that those who become aware of it would consider checking up and following up on the opportunity, because what you'll find is a trip of a lifetime, and you'll probably make lifelong friends. Our first people we hosted, the Amadas, we couldn't speak a word of Japanese, they couldn't speak a word of English, and yet they're lifelong friends, and we just greet each other every time we get a chance. This year's the 60th anniversary of the founding of Rio, and we often hear the term Riacho, that means Rio town, but the town is Rio. And this is their 60th anniversary, so they have many special events planned for our delegation. The cost to go is primarily the ticket price. Everything else, your homestay is covered, and anything you want to spend, you need to cover, but there's very little to spend it on, because I guarantee you, if you say, I like that, you're probably going to get it. And so we always warn people, if you have a dish that you eat and you really don't care for it, don't pretend you like it, because you'll get it back again. Our dates are approximately May 27th to June 5th. And I say approximately because that would depend a little bit on scheduling of air situations, which we haven't done yet. Our target group size is 10 to 14 people. The deadline for signing up, we want to make the deadline by March 1st. And since this is the 60th anniversary, I guess I would suggest to the city that they think about possibly doing something special when we go over there. You know how much they do on this end, and so I don't think we want to let the fact that this is a 60th anniversary go unnoticed. So, any questions?
An idea, maybe we could send our mayor, and what do you think?
Well, right now we have lots of room. We have, I think, 4 people committed and 3 interested, so we certainly have room for more. And like I say, I would not want to send a very small delegation, since it is a special date for them.
Any questions?
Anyone?
Oh, Kathy?
No.
Commissioner Twardy?
Well, thank you. I just was going to say I'm excited to go, and this is what I'm planning on doing for my son, who's graduating from high school this year, as you know. And he's already been learning to speak Japanese, and he's been in contact. He met a young lady when their delegation came over here at the farewell ceremony that we held at Kewadin, and they exchanged information, took pictures of each other, and they've been in contact. So he's pretty excited about it.
We found our junior high contacts usually tend to keep in contact for many years after they've hosted or stayed somewhere. So it does. It's a lifelong friendship.
Mm-hmm. And this past year, we had the delegation from Riocho here, and they gave us a great gift that we now have on the lawn
Yes.
of City Hall. And I would think that as we get maybe into the next, fairly soon, we should maybe as a commission talk about how much we want to spend and send something that either we'll have to pack and ship. You probably wouldn't be able to carry it, I wouldn't think, but something in significance of their 60th anniversary.
One of the downsides of going to Rio is that usually before you come back, you have to buy another suitcase to put your gifts in.
But thank you very much for the
Thank you.
update, and we certainly
Anyone who's
encourage.
interested should either contact the city manager, Oliver, or myself, or my wife, Melissa, if you really wanted to get the message.
Do you have some phone numbers you'd like to?
Yes, 517-648-9091, or call the city manager's office, and Oliver sends me an email.
Okay,
That's an easy one, too.
okay. What's a 517 area code?
Well, yeah, I hate to say this, but back when I first was on Sugar Island, we had a cell phone.
Just,
None of the local numbers would work on Sugar Island. So,
That's a
and our
foreign country.
friends were up and they had a Verizon phone, which Verizon didn't serve our area at that
Okay.
time. And so that's how I got a 517.
oh, okay. Yeah, I thought we were calling somebody in Lansing, maybe a.
Oh, yeah, plus it made
Flight.
a shortcut for my calls to
Okay,
Lansing for
great.
the last few years. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Tony. Okay, before we go to the city manager's report, I see a person in the audience that I'd like to bring up and let her talk about what she is doing to promote Hockeyville in the city of Sault Ste. Marie. It's Linda Hoth from our Convention and Visitors Bureau. And Linda, why don't you, instead of waiting until the end of the meeting, I'm hoping people are listening so that we're trying to do something which you can talk about. And
Well, it's getting pretty exciting. I
Yes.
mean, thank you, Tony, for bringing it up. And then Ronnie Melport came in and gave me another little shove. And one day I heard two things about Kraft Hockeyville, USA. So, Ronnie Melport wrote a story. And everybody else can write an essay also and turn it in. So let's not forget that, okay? And actually, we did an essay on this lovely man down here. Yes, it's you, Bill Lynn. We did a story on Bill Lynn, and we have another story that we're going to have finished probably by the end of this week, and you'll get to see that. But what we want to do, and I have talked to the Sioux Michigan Hockey Association. I'm waiting to get a hold of Mr. Ferroni. I called him and left a message for him to get back to me on February 10th,
which is a Tuesday.
which is a Tuesday, at 5:30 to when we get finished, 6:30. We should be done by 6:30.
It should be less than an hour.
It should easily be less than an hour. We want all the hockey teams in Sault Ste. Marie. I'm talking about, we would love to have LSSU, Sioux High Hockey, the Firehawks, the Eagles, and all the Sioux Michigan Hockey Association people on the ice with their jerseys. So that we can see, and then I want the community to
Yes,
come in
anyone
too.
that's been
I want
involved,
everybody to come
has been
and
on
fill
the
it up.
puller, skated at the puller, come down, be part of the picture.
Be part of the picture. I also want the little ones that are planning
Yes.
on playing hockey someday. I mean, that's our future too. So it's about everybody being a part of this, and we're trying to, community spirit is a part of it. And to depict community spirit, who has more hockey teams than we do? I don't think anybody does. I don't think anybody can touch the hockey teams that we have within our community.
We have 5 rinks.
Yeah.
And tell them a little bit about what Hockeyville pays for the winner and
Oh.
and the second and third prizes.
And we're going to win, right?
Well, we certainly hope so.
We sure do. $150,000 plus we get a preseason NHL hockey game. So I'm really looking forward to doing this, and I really hope that we can get the community really pumped up and come out and fill the puller with people, you know. And I mean, wear your jerseys. If you got favorite jerseys you want to wear or favorite teams, wear them. So, and it's about getting people on that ice and getting people out there. Like I said, then we'll have probably a couple of photographers there and one video. I would like to do one video, and I'll let you know. My board doesn't know it yet, but I ordered a banner that says it's 4 foot by 8 foot, and it says Sault Ste. Marie Pier, Michigan on it, and it's the original Hockey Town, USA. It will
Excellent.
hold up right in front. So we need to be proud of who we are, and you know, this is an area nobody else can touch us. Nobody else has what we have. So if we can get the community involved, get people out, we will do a press release. So Scott, I'll be getting you a press release. It's coming in the next day or two. And right now it's tentative, February 10th, the Tuesday night from 5:30. At 5:30, I'd like everybody to be there at 5:30 so that we can get everybody on the ice and get the picture taken. So, and I'm excited about it. It's going to be fun.
Well, I'd certainly like to thank the Convention and Visitors Bureau for taking this under their wing, because you have the wherewithal to provide what we need to make this happen, and certainly Commissioner Lynn and Ronnie Melport writing the initial letter. It's an opportunity. We're still looking at the second addition to the, phase 2 of the puller. $150,000 would go a long way in providing that. The place is going to need a new roof eventually, probably sooner than later. So there's always the need, and to have the pro hockey exhibition game in the puller, I mean, it's a tremendous opportunity, and hopefully we can be, and it's not going to be easy. I mean, when you look what's out east and in the history of that, but we have, the original hockey started in Houghton, Michigan, and we have some of the pictures in the puller
The
of those
NHL.
initial teams.
The NHL started in Houghton.
And, yeah.
And Sue was in.
Yeah, so it's important that we're able to do this, and we will certainly encourage people to show up, and it looks like now the 10th. It might be the 9th, which is a Monday, but it looks like Tuesday is the 9th.
Yes, and it looks like the easiest way to switch around the ice time that's
Sure.
already there. So, and I know I talked to Diane Melport, and she's been wonderful working with me. And we have, and I've talked to people all weekend at our Cabin Fever, which was a success. My grandson came second.
And if we get enough people and it overflows into the stands, that'd be, anybody that's been touched by the puller, we would hope would show up for a quick picture. And by the time you get everybody in there, and it should be hopefully within an hour at the
Yeah.
latest to be out of there.
And I think it's an important, look at us. Come on, we can do it. And more people get their, it may not be ours that wins. Somebody else could have more passion, more creativity, and do this. So, I mean, put your,
Second place is 75,000?
oh, I'm not going for second place.
I know, but, I mean, it's still significant. Yeah, we want to be first, but.
Yeah, I mean,
so-
there's still, I mean, there's,
But
what it
show up with
is
jerseys on. Commissioner Lynn, I'm sure you have a number of jerseys left. I think you scored a goal last week.
Out of the rafters.
I did get a goal last Wednesday night, and 2 people passed out on the bench, 2 of my teammates.
we'll make sure Bob Kalia, he gets.
Yes.
gets
So we're
down
trying to
there
get the
and
word
grabs
out to make sure people know that we will need them down there.
I'll
And I-
tell my senior team, that's
Okay.
for sure.
Okay, and I will be getting, be putting a little flyer together, and we'll be doing different things like that to get it out to everybody. But if we can make sure that, I really want to get LSSU on that ice too.
Yep.
I know you have not, you've still got influence.
And that
I know you do.
reminds me too, on the 31st of January, which is a Saturday, it's hockey in Sault Ste. Marie, Hockey Day in Sault Ste. Marie, and we have Sioux High at, is it 1 o'clock?
I don't have. that
Lake
on me.
Superior blue-white game at 4 o'clock. 7:30 the Eagles play. And that's, I think the class with Heather Smith's class up at Lake Superior State is kind of organizing it. And I understand it's going to, the proceeds from the blue-white game type of thing, I think they're going to have a donation, will go toward the Marcus Andary section for, at the Puller. So, I mean, all that's in the works and moving forward, so that it's just a lot of activity coming up, in this 2-week period going forward, 2-3 week period. So,
And if they want any information, they can call our office, the CVB office, at 632-3366. If you want any help, you want to finding it, and you want to put an essay together, we'll help you.
okay. Thank you very much for being here, Linda. Okay, item number 5 is the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Item A under the city manager's report would provide authorization for the replacement of the filter under drain and media at the water treatment plant. On the subject matter, I've requested our DPW Director, Jim Moreau, make a presentation to the City Commission.
That was smart.
Thank you. Jim Morrow. So far, this winter is being a pretty nice winter to you,
A
then.
lot better than last year.
Yes.
Can I ask Jim one question?
Sure,
before you start?
Commissioner Lynn.
How far is the frost down this year? Do you
About
know?
half of what it was last winter at this time. Right now, frost is about maybe 2.5 feet, 3 feet at the most.
Might get through it then, maybe.
Well, we're going to get through it one way or the other. But how we get that to the end point, we'll see. But no, we should be doing fine. We're doing a lot better than we were before. Bonnie coached me on this, so there we are. Good evening. A very important part of our treatment process is our filters. Probably one of the second most important beyond, or other than disinfection. And inside our 4 filters, we have 18 inches of anthracite charcoal on top of 12 inches of filter sand. And what holds that up is the filter underdrain. And that, that consists of about 20-inch pillars, PVC pillars. There's 81 of them. I'll go through some of these pictures, not all of them, that hold up a concrete and plastic substructure that holds the filter sand and holds also the nozzles that the filtered water flows through. Now, when we were backwashing a filter back, number 4 filter back in mid-October, we noticed a lot of turbulence on one of, during the backwash cycle, which is highly unusual. We took it, after the backwash cycle, we shut the water off, and we noticed a big depression in the media, which indicated a failure of the underdrain. Now, when that happens, water goes through without getting filtered. It can't happen. It's, the filter is, we had to take the filter out of service. We excavated the sand from one side and found that the concrete underdrain was busted up. And here, if you can see, it's up on, this print here shows the, just a diagram of the underdrain. Let me go through this. This is the filter where we shoveled away the charcoal and the anthracite. You can see the different medias here. The black stuff's the charcoal, obviously, and the tan is the filter sand. And on the right-hand side, you can see some of the nozzles. And there's what we found when we removed the media from that one point where we found the depression in it. And you can see the busted up concrete. The re-rod is showing. It's a complete failure of the underdrain system. Now, this is something that's a piece of equipment that has a lifespan of 75 to 100 years. The filter underdrain is designed to last the lifespan of a water treatment plant. And they built the water treatment plant to match the old one. The old one was in service for 91 years. And that's what we were shooting for with this one. And we're going to get there. You know, the treatment plant is doing good. This is an anomaly. We didn't anticipate it. We didn't budget for this. The only maintenance we typically do on a filter is change the media every 25 years. And we're planning to do that. In fact, in the budget process coming up, you're going to see where we're in 3 years from now, we're going to be asking for new media. Anyway, we consulted our design engineers, who we keep in contact with regularly, and we had to remove the anthracite to figure out what caused this, or the media, what caused this problem. So we did a little creative engineering. We adapted our Vactor truck, as you can see by this hose here, and we're running outside to Sherman Park with our Vactor truck. We sucked out the 36 yards of media with that, and I'll just scroll through these pictures here. It was quite a chore, but we didn't know any other way to do it, either that or 5-gallon buckets. So that's what we came up with. Anyway, once we figured that out and got that anthracite out of the filter, there's the fellas removing the sand and the charcoal. And that's what the underdrain looks like with all the anthracite out and the media out. If you look, this is kind of a poor picture right now, but there's cracking all along this concrete. It's supposed to be a completely smooth surface. There's cracking everywhere, indicating that it was a complete failure of it. We had to figure out what happened and why so we could fix it. There's a view from the filter. It's about 25 feet deep. So we started investigating what was happening, and Mr. Dave Bratt, one of the design engineers on the plant, came up to the filter to check it out with us. There's removing the nozzles, and he said we got to take the concrete underdrain out. So what we did is, there's some of the 750 nozzles that we removed. We started jackhammering, and we started carefully removing the filters underdrain system. As you can see, the crew doing that, and we use all city staff for this. We use city staff for all the labor so far, and we're going to do that for the remainder of this project. But you can see the concrete, the rebar, and the plastic components. And as we dug deeper, we found that these pillars, these 81 PVC pillars, that's where the problem lies. They're supposed to be full of concrete, and some of them didn't have concrete in them, which weakened them. A number of these here. And they actually, during the backwash cycle, water is introduced to the bottom of the filter, and it actually lifted it up, cracking the concrete. Now, these things are supposed to be firmly attached to the foundation of the plant. This indicated poor installation, not poor design. That's the key here. The design is sound, but it was poorly installed. And in asking our design engineer, how could this happen? How could this slip by our consulting engineers on this project? Well, just like every other big project, there's a lot of stuff going on at one time. You could have 5, 6, 7 crews going on one time with 1 or 2 inspectors that the city pays for. They can't be everywhere at once. This slipped by. But we have a problem. We have to fix it. So we're adapting, and now we found out the problem, and we're going to fix it. But then there's more of these pictures here of the failure. So what we intend to do, we tend to strengthen up the design slightly, using the same basis of design, and put the similar equipment in, but that's going to take some unbudgeted funds. The total project cost is a not to exceed $70,000, and in that $70,000, $10,000 is for engineering services, is spec writing, shop drawing, submittals. I could use the same specs over again because I have those from 1993, but something happened here. We're very sure that it's poor workmanship, poor construction, but we want to beef up the under drain just a little bit. So that requires us to have a whole new set of specifications written. Also in this $10,000 is shop drawings and inspection on the work that we're going to do. We've never rebuilt a filter before. In fact, nobody has rebuilt a filter before. This is a really unusual occurrence in the water business. Really, again, we just replace media every 25 years. That's what the kind of maintenance that one does on this. So we're all kind of learning from this project. $50,000 is for the filter components. That's the PVC nozzles, the under drain system. The $17,500 of that is filter media, which we're going to replace in 3 years anyway. We may be able to save the nozzles on the original job. That's why you see them bagged up there. We're going to clean them up and see if we can reuse them. We're pretty sure we can. That'll save about $8,000. $5,000 for rebar concrete testing. We have Al Tester come up and make sure all the concrete meets our specs and our work for as far as installing the rebar. And another $5,000 for contingencies, and that brings us up to $70,000. And it's pretty much of that $70,000, about $45,000 was unplanned. That's the situation that we're in. So that's what we're asking for you tonight, is authorization for a not to exceed amount of $70,000. Could be significantly less than that, but that'll cover what we have to do to get this filter going. Now, the plant's running on 3 filters, and we can continue running on 3 filters. But it's like driving around without a spare tire. We drop another filter, we have problems. We may not meet water. If we had a winter like last winter, with the amount of water we were putting out in let runs and everything right now, we'd be borderline with these 3 filters. We got a good winter, so we're fine. But we could be put in a situation if we dropped another filter, because who knows? When I get this thing done, we're going to start digging in the other filters, because maybe they may have a similar problem to this. So this is something that's got us very concerned.
Commissioner Bauer.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that it should be noted, though, because I don't think we've really discussed this, that's going to be taken as planned anyway from the Water Equipment Replacement Fund, which has a current balance of $350,000 plus, so the money's there. I would move that we approve the use of up to $70,000 from the Water Equipment Replacement Fund for the repair of the number 4 filter at the water treatment plant.
Support.
It's been supported. Questions? Now, you're talking about our crew doing the work for the most part, eh?
Well, all the
That's a
work.
major undertaking, eh?
Well, if you break down into individual components of the job, there's nothing that we haven't done before.
Okay.
We've poured concrete, we've done re-rod,
Yes.
we've run jackhammers, that's what we do. So the thing is, just to break down to individual parts of the job, it's kind of overwhelming when you first start working at it, but, we've all done the different parts of this type of work before, so there's nothing new here.
Yeah.
The
Good.
end product is new, but
Yeah.
I'm confident.
Excellent. Commissioner Torney?
Yeah, thank you. Just a couple of comments. Number one, I don't think that $70,000 for all of this work seems like it's that much money. Seems to me that it could have been substantially more had you not utilized all of the city staff as they are right now. And just to comment, I mean, thank you for knowing and for being here and doing what you do, because to me that looked like so overwhelming. So just thank you.
I'll pass it on to the guys. It was overwhelming at first. It still is to a certain extent, because we've just never done anything like this before, and there's no guidelines for this to go on. We're essentially starting from scratch. We have no idea what happened here. These things, again, are built for a century of service, and they get it. So.
And there's no warranty on any of this, I would presume?
Well, we got some free engineering work out of it.
Yes.
That's about it. We had a year warranty on the water plant.
Do you know who was the contractor on that?
DeVere.
It was DeVere. Well, DeVere has always been around, they've been around the community a long time, done a lot of good work, I would think. Maybe,
And the water plant is a fine plant.
yeah,
It is a
maybe a discussion with
Excellent
Dick Crittenden, the owner of DeVere, if we're looking at something that is maybe caused by poor workmanship.
Yeah.
I mean, they've done a lot of
Yeah.
excellent work in the community, so.
very much so. And we hope this is just a one
Okay.
tiny part of the big plant that we have. So, but that's what the result is. It's
Okay.
poor concrete.
Thank you. Anyone else? City Manager.
Just a quick comment to echo Commissioner Twardy's comments. I saw all the hours that DPW Director Moreau put into this and certainly appreciate it. It's a lot of work. Appreciate the work.
Okay, excellent. Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Bosmas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you.
Item B, under the City Manager's report, would provide for the award of a tentative contract for sidewalk replacement work on East Easterday Avenue. On Thursday, December 18, 2014, 2 sealed bids were received for the completion of approximately 2,995 square feet of sidewalk replacement work on East Easterday Avenue. Both proposals received met or exceeded the specifications provided by the Community Development Department for this project. The low bidding respondent was Darling Concrete LLC of 11243 South Riverside Drive in the amount of $25,000 for this work. As mentioned during the confirmation of the special assessment roll, the sidewalk replacement project will be funded by 50% of a special assessment upon adjacent property owners. There are no outstanding debts by the low bidder, Darling Concrete LLC, thus making them the low bidder meeting specifications. Please note that the owner of Darling Concrete, Emily Darling, is the wife of Department of Public Works employee Michael Darling. In researching this matter, the administration found no conflicts inherent to this work being done by this company as a result of that fact. Accordingly, I have 2 recommendations. The first being that the City Commission award a contract to Darling Concrete LLC for sidewalk replacement work on East Easterday Avenue in the amount of $25,000. And secondly, that the City Commission amend the project budget from $20,000 to $40,000 with the source of the additional $20,000 to be derived from special assessments.
Okay, there are 2 recommendations in discussion with the city attorney. Those are 2 separate motions. Commissioner Stefanski.
So moved that the city commission award a contract to Darling Concrete LLC for sidewalk replacement on East Easterday Avenue in the amount of $25,000 with the execution of a contract contingent on the condition or confirmation of the special assessment roll SW-01-14.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Bosmas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you, Commissioner Stefanski.
So moved that the city commission amend the project budget from $20,000 to $40,000 with the source of the additional $20,000 to be from special assessments.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Bosmas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item C, under the City Manager's report, would provide for the approval of change order number 13 to the McGahee Construction Company for the Puller Community Building renovation project. As Commissioners are aware, at the April 4th, 2014 regular meeting of the City Commission, the Puller Stadium renovation construction contract, along with change order number 1, eliminating the building addition at that time, was awarded to McGahee Construction. The project has been substantially completed and there are additional items that have been identified necessitating one last change order. Change order 13 includes the following items. First, the installation of 36 chairs donated by LSSU to be placed in 2 rows into the existing bleachers on both sides of the penalty box and scorekeeping area at a cost of $7,500. Secondly, the removal and replacement of 3 sets of concrete stairways in the stands that are in poor condition and hazardous at a cost of $1,800. And thirdly, the installation of vinyl base at the bottom of the new trophy cases to protect the wood at a cost of $800. The cost proposals for these improvements have been satisfactorily reviewed by the administration and UP Engineers and Architect Project Manager Jeremy Gagne. These items have been determined to be required for safety or to be in keeping with the objectives of the original scope of the project. The total for change order number 13 is $10,100, which is over the city manager's authorization limit for contract changes. However, please note both items have previously been approved under separate authorizations at separate times in amounts of less than $10,000 each. The project is substantially complete, and this is expected to be the last change order issued for the project prior to closeout. Accordingly, it is my recommendation that the City Commission approve change order number 13 as presented.
Commissioner Lynn?
Your Honor, maybe you'd like to explain the chairs that are going in? I think this was your idea.
Sure.
If I remember right.
Okay, I can do that. The chairs have been donated by Lake Superior State. And I tell you, at this point, we have about 100 of them, and they're the plastic, nice armchairs that are in the new wing on the Norris Center. They're taking away some of those chairs and making some areas for students that are standing room behind bar area type of thing. And we asked Lake State if they wouldn't mind giving some of those to the puller. And we have plans now to put up, since we took down a whole bank of chairs that people used to sit in, and some people just can't sit on benches with back conditions, so they can't come to the puller for the most part because there's, we only have 10, 12 seats in the ADA area, and it's not elevated. So the idea is to put, at least initially, 2 rows on either side of the ADA area, which is close to the concession stand, and people that are ambulatory, they just have problems sitting on benches, so that a lot of the folks will be coming back. And it looks like it's going to be a nice venue, and if we receive more chairs, then maybe we look at a lower bowl area that goes totally around, that as time and money permits, we can continue to install these chairs. It looks like Randy McGahee is going to be able to install 10 in a row, and we'll have 2 rows on each side, giving us 40 chairs. I think we lost about 50 chairs, 36 to 50 chairs, when we took out the old Strahl Theater chairs, which we have. And I'm sure we're going to be doing some stuff with some of the stuff that we've pulled out of the puller eventually here once we're all going. But we're still in a sort of a remodel mode, and we certainly have the Manny Boucher room that we are working at and trying to incorporate some of the old boards that we have into the room, and making that the trophy cases and whatnot looking. I mean, it's going to be a nice concept once we see a drawing and stuff of what we can do there. But as everyone knows, we've taken some of the trophies from the Manny Boucher room, put them in some trophy cases. People can see them. We've had a number of people comment on the trophy cases and the trophies that are in there. But certainly Manny's room is used by a number of organizations, and when we have tournaments and showcase, especially showcase activities for the different, especially the high school, sometimes that room is used for a complimentary or a place where parents can go and that kind of stuff. So it certainly is valuable, and we want to make that something that is what people wanted to hopefully see. We still have to do some remodeling in that area, so we're moving forward on that too. So we have raised, I think we're at roughly $340,000 by the committee. That goal was $250,000, as we all know, and we're over the goal, and we're looking forward to looking at phase 2, which is about a $260,000 addition on the west side. I think UP Engineers has talked to the manager and has done a preliminary drawing, and we're getting closer to, I think we've got about 170 when you look at what we may have saved a bit with the puller campaign and the amount that we've been able to raise. So we're looking at some additional monies, and there's still people willing to give, and those things continue to come in. So we're still in a fundraising mode, but certainly, again, thank the area, not just the community, but the area for their support of the project, and over a 5-year period, it's you can pay for the pledge, and it's gone very well. And we certainly like to thank the committee members and those folks that have certainly given. Commissioner Lynn.
And there was one of the few complaints I've got about the puller was we took out seats that have backs on them, and your idea took care of that. And they should be very happy with what you're with your idea. It was a great idea.
Thank you.
With that, Your Honor, I'd so move the City Commission approve change order number 13 as presented.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor Boswin.
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn,
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons,
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski.
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item D, under the city manager's report, would provide authorization for the approval of a letter of intent for the sale of city property southwest of Sanderson Field to Otto USA Development. As commissioners are aware, on August 15th, 2011, the City Commission held a public hearing regarding the possible sale of city-owned property located southwest of Sanderson Field, behind the former Quality Inn and Sioux Plaza. At that time, the city had received a request from local developer Mr. Isan Otto of Sioux Plaza. At that time, the city had regarding that request. Following the public hearing that was held regarding his request, the City Commission authorized the city attorney and city manager to negotiate an agreement with Mr. Otto that could lead to the sale and ultimate development of this property. Following the August 15th, 2011 meeting at which the above referenced public hearing was held, the City Commission at its December 19th, 2011 regular meeting authorized city administration to execute a proposed letter of intent to purchase with Mr. Otto that could provide for the ultimate sale and development of this approximately 69-acre city-owned subject parcel. Since that time, Mr. Otto has initiated a wetlands determination for this property using Brown & Associates. As an important note, Brown & Associates has been a consultant that the city has utilized in the past on the SARMI project, and the administration has indicated to Mr. Otto that he could use any of the information collected as part of the SARMI project with his own applications for the development of the same property. As commissioners are additionally aware, at its October 21st, 2013 regular meeting, the City Commission acted to transfer the approved letter of intent to purchase to Menard, Inc., which at the time expressed an interest in constructing a Menard's retail store on the property. After the letter was transferred, Menard, Inc. decided not to move forward as originally intended, taking action to terminate this letter of intent. It is unclear as to why Menard, Inc. decided to not move forward on this project. However, it should be noted that the administration and the city made every reasonable effort to facilitate that potential development, and that city staff was accessible and responsive to Menard, Inc. throughout Menard's decision-making process. Recently, Mr. Otto has indicated that he would like to continue to have an exclusive agreement on this property with the city while he continues to investigate the feasibility of its development. Accordingly, a new letter of intent to purchase has been prepared to replace the letter of intent to purchase that was terminated by Menard, Inc. This document has been included for consideration herein tonight. It should be also noted that the included letter of intent to purchase, like the last one, would not obligate the city to close on the sale of this property until Mr. Otto had secured a significant commercial development. It should also be noted that at the public hearing referenced herein, there was no other interest expressed in this property by any other developer, nor have there been any interest expressed since that time. Finally, it should be noted that the letter of intent to purchase would require Mr. Otto to transfer to the city an approximately 80-acre parcel of land on M129 in Sioux Township as payment for the nearly 69-acre parcel of city-owned property. As commissioners are likely aware, this property was originally obtained by Mr. Otto in connection with the Walmart mitigation project, but it was not ultimately used for that purpose. It's expected that a significant portion of this property could be easily converted into wetlands by the city to facilitate other development that would occur along the I-75 business spur or elsewhere throughout the city. Accordingly, it is my recommendation that the City Commission authorize the city manager to sign the included letter of intent to purchase with Mr. Isan Otto to provide for the sale of approximately 69 acres of city-owned property generally located southwest of Sanderson Field. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Lynn, Do you want to?
Did you want to say why Menards isn't
Oh,
coming?
what we heard is, in a gentleman, I was surprised because Menards, there's always been for 7, 8 years, Menards has always indicated that they've been here. The gentleman made a presentation, I believe it was it was a year ago, almost a year and a half ago, to the commission about how excited they were to come to the community and in looking at that site. And what we understand is that the gentleman was on vacation and someone else higher up possibly looked at why they were building a store in the city and a town of 14,300 people. Why are we building a Menards in Sault Ste. Marie? And we've since spent a lot of time explaining to them that we're not a community of 14,800 surrounding area. You're looking at it somewhere between 100 and 150,000, proper as a greater Sioux area, including our friends to the north in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. So we've spent an awful lot of, I'm sure he spent an awful lot of time here in the community, and our SARMI continues to move forward with sites that we're trying to have the DEQ accept, and we're getting very close after almost 5 years, I think, getting hopefully a commitment and a written agreement from those people involved, DEQ, State of Michigan, that can expedite big box stores or others looking at those properties, that the permit application just won't take quite as long as in other situations. So, but that's why we hear that Menards did not want to come to the city of Sault Ste. Marie, and I would like to have someone talk to Lowe's or Home Depot, because I think we know that people spend an awful lot of money going south and west, picking up lumber supplies and all kinds of things, and that money would stay in the Sioux, much like the War Memorial Hospital's expansion with medical dollars and that kind of stuff. So those dollars tend to continue to leave the area, and we certainly, as a city, are open to commercial retailers coming to the area. Okay. Commissioner Lynn, now.
Yeah, I wanted you to explain it, and you did really good, nice job on it. I didn't think it'd take quite that long,
Yeah.
but you did a good job.
Don't call me Nebo.
So move the city manager's recommendation.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any further comments or questions? And we certainly wish Sean Atto success.
Yes.
Commissioner.
I'm just
Timmons.
wondering, I asked this 3 years ago when I was a new commissioner, and I'm going to ask it again. Why doesn't the city make contacts with businesses that we would like to come? We are crying for more money in our budget, and until we get more businesses to open here, more restaurants, more whatever, our budget's going to stay pretty much the same. People are clamoring, they're wanting businesses and restaurants.
Commissioner Lynn, do you have a comment?
Yes.
Our EDC, now I don't know, I know our EDC tries to get manufacturing jobs, et cetera. I don't know if they go after restaurants or other kinds of businesses. I couldn't tell you the answer to that. But that's a perfect avenue for us. That's what we have an EDC for.
Exactly.
I think, Raymond, are you the liaison with the EDC?
Yes, I am, but I think that, the focus on the EDC up until this point, I guess you can talk to Kristen Klaus about it, but traditionally has been in the manufacturing realm, businesses like AMI, like, Precision Edge, the economic gardening, right, and not only growing the businesses that we have here, but bringing others in, and we have had that, and the industrial park is fairly full, but that's always been the main focus of the Economic Development Corporation has been industry.
I guess we can make that an item for our goal-setting session, but...
I mean, if you want me to bring it up at the next EDC meeting, I would be glad to.
I think some of the discussion, if I remember 3 years ago, a lot of it has to do with time. And not that it's not, it's certainly important, but you can be chasing your, proverbial tail, forever. And Convention and Visitors Bureau, I see Linda sitting here, the more business we get, the more success we have, the more wealth you grow. The more, and it's all about growing wealth, but retailers are on their own time frame, and they all know the numbers. Everybody knows what the Walmart does, what Penny's, J.C. Penney's, those numbers. In the business, as I understand it, they know the numbers. So when they're ready to move to Sault Ste. Marie, we as a city try and expedite the ability for them to come so that we're ready when they want to come. But ultimately, to try and have our manager or whoever to try and try and go after the business, it's pretty difficult in my mind, and I think our former city manager's mind, when we talked about, they know where they're going normally 3-4 years out. And if you're not on their radar, to try and get their main companies to see something, it's pretty difficult. That's what some of the discussion was back 3 years ago. And also, we have taxpayers in the community that have businesses here, and as you affect those taxpayers, you have to, there has to be a balance, and certainly anybody you bring in is going to affect someone else, sometimes detrimentally, sometimes helpfully, because more people that come into the community, the busier people are, and if we're not moving forward, then you're not moving at all, and you're moving backwards a lot of the time, so that you gotta be able to do it all, and we've always said we would certainly welcome businesses to the community. And I think we're pretty aggressive as a community, as a commission, in making sure that we're open for business and that stuff, but actively making a phone call, asking people to come to Sault Ste. Marie. I think that's the Tourist Bureau, the Chamber of Commerce, other businesses, EDC, which is out there doing, not retail, but as you get out there, you might be discussing or rubbing up against people that have retail, because the entrepreneurs many of them own many more than just one business.
I'm just wondering, do you think that Gaylord just sat there and waited for business to come to them? Or do you think Marquette just waited? Or do you think Lansing just waited, or Battle Creek, or any of them? No. You have to let them know that you're interested. And we're not doing that. And I think it's a terrible disservice to our community.
I disagree. I don't think we're not doing it. I just don't think we're maybe as aggressive as you would like to see.
It is so frustrating sitting here sometimes in hearing those same trains of thought voiced again and again, year after year. You want the city to grow, but you can't just sit there and wait for it to come to you. It's no different than if you're out looking for a job. You don't sit at home and wait for the employers to come to you. You go out to the... Excuse me, Commissioner.
I'm just glad that wasn't a knife and just a pencil.
And we have, to answer some of that, our downtown development director, Justin Nepper, we just see in the evening news, there's a MISTA. MISTA is now bringing money to the community, hopefully, eventually, but you got to go through a process. I think people are out there doing what they need to do. It's just that it's going to take some time to get business in this community that's not here already. And we know growing the businesses that are here in the community are something that is successful, and we continue to do that. Our industrial base, and we could spend a lot of time discussing this thing, but I think the city does a pretty fair job of trying to get business and work with the businesses that are here. And we have the Chippewa County EDC, you have the Sioux EDC, you have the Tribal EDC, you have the Eastern UP Regional Planning. People are out there. It's not an easy thing. And to convince people to come to your community, we have a community that's very welcoming. We, as you can see from the different things that go on in our community, there's a lot of activities and stuff. Somebody's phone? Or am I talking too long? But ultimately, let's talk about it at the goal-setting session and see where we want to go, because it's going to take, if we want to do something to that effect, it's going to take a number of funds possibly. and in a discussion with our city manager, and I would certainly hope others that as we go forward.
Roll call vote?
Pardon? Where are we at? With the authorization, did we vote yet? No. We have a motion and support. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn,
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons.
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski.
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty.
Yes.
Mayor Bosmas.
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you.
Item E under the city manager's report would provide authorization for the submission of a 2015 Byrne Technology Grant. As is laid out in the memorandum, the current police department in-car laptop computers were purchased in 2006 and have become outdated, are no longer supported by Windows, and lack the ability to maintain any additional software or technological components necessary for police operations. As a result of these concerns, Police Chief Riley met with IT Director Raffaelli, County Emergency Coordinator McKee, and a representative from the Panasonic Corporation to review and discuss the needs of the department. It is that working group's recommendation that an upgrade to the Panasonic Tablet ToughPad FZ-G1 would be the best alternative for the department at a cost of $6,000 per unit installed, with the 6 units totaling $36,000. The U.S. Department of Justice offers one of the last remaining grants available to law enforcement departments for such technological purchases. The Byrne grant, facilitated by the Michigan State Police, offers this, and the component is not available every year. Although it will not be known if it will be available until sometime in February or March, the administration is bringing this request in anticipation of successfully submitting a grant if it is available. Historically, it's been limited to $25,000, and a 10% matching fund requirement has been in place as part of the grant. Accordingly, it is my recommendation that the City Commission authorize the submission of a 2015 Byrne Technology Grant if it becomes available for up to $36,000 in technology upgrades for the police department, with the 10% local matching funds required for the grant in the purchase of 6 in-car laptop computers through the established bidding process of the city.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Tuorty.
I so move the city manager's recommendation.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lynn,
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons,
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski.
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty.
Yes.
Mayor Bosmas.
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item F under the city manager's report pertains to the 6-month budget review and the approval of budget adjustments. I have requested that our finance director and treasurer, Kristen Collins, make a presentation to the city commission regarding the subject matter.
Good evening, Mayor,
Evening,
Commissioners,
Kristen.
staff members. I have been doing this quarterly, and it really helps because we get to see how things are going as they go. I review all the approved budget revisions so far in the year, so we can skip over those unless there are any questions. Okay, we're half done. General fund revenue is always behind at this point in time because any kind of, well, I should say the grant revenue is behind, the tax revenue is ahead because of what time it comes in during the year. But revenues look fine. I'm happy to say that interest revenue is over target at this point, so we should close the year ahead. The general fund expenditures look fairly well in line. There's only one revision requested at this time, and that is for police overtime. The way the department has run, there have been unexpected illness, injuries. There's another officer leaving. So this $30,000 should get us through to the end of the year without any problems. That is my only request in the general fund expenses. There are comments throughout. If you had any questions, there are things that are over, under. There are a few transfers going on, but nothing that's of a concern. There are a few things that had to be done after last year's significant changes in departments. We had some estimates that were just difficult to make with the information we had, so we're getting it cleared out right now. So everything looks great. I was asked by the manager to take a look at where we are with the budget. So Currently, the revenue over expense is $162,000 in the general fund, so that's a good number. It was a lot tighter when we initially approved the budget. However, we had a couple of corrections done after the first quarter that caused it to look a lot better. So this would reduce that from $162,000 to $132,000. So we're still in really good shape. I also took a look at the general fund balance limits that we set last December. We approved our fund balance policy. And with this, right now, it's looking at the fund balance ratio is 21.3, which we want it to be over 18. And the calculation of unassigned fund balance plus compensated absences ratio, which 8% is what you had requested we keep, it's at 10.61. So we're looking good. We're continuing to improve. And as compared to the original approved budget, it was 18.8 and 10.4. So we're on the upward trend, which is great. All the other funds I review in detail, or in summary, and they're looking in good shape. We're going to keep an eye on Major Street this year because of the way that we spread costs over the streets. You know, if we get really a lot of snow, that's one to watch, and I may request a transfer from local street at some point in the year. And the DDAs are a little ahead, and we're going to take a look at that, and I may come back to you in the next quarter. Other than that, everything's looking great. Sewer and water fund is you noted, had sufficient reserves for the equipment replacement that was requested earlier. And we're working on what the reserve balances are for all the capital requests for next fiscal year. So that's our next project. Are there any questions for this review?
Any questions of Kristen? Thank you. City Manager.
Just a compliment to Kristen for preparing this, much appreciated, and a compliment to the department heads for administering the budget throughout the year. Everybody knows from the administrative team that adopting it was quite a task, but administering it is also another task, and everybody has done a very good job in making sure that all of our resources are fairly applied and used judiciously. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Bauer.
You know what? I was looking for. Thank you very much. So move that the commission approve the budget amendment that increases the public safety expenditures category within the general fund by $30,000.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Stefanski?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosmas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. That concludes the city manager's report for this meeting.
Okay, thank you. How about your status report?
That moves us into the status report for the 2014 year-end report.
Commissioner Lynn.
So move we approve the report and place it on file.
That would, we just thought we'd do that on.
We just said, let's just break in. I used to do the same thing to Spencer Nebo.
Okay.
All right. As commissioners are aware, it was former city manager Spencer Nebel's tradition to present to the city commission annually a report detailing the most significant events from each calendar year. As a public manager, it has also been my practice to present such annual reports, as these provide a clear summarized record of events and projects that shape and define a municipality and community on a lasting basis, and can also serve to showcase ongoing efforts to maximize efficiencies, streamline service delivery, and obtain outside grant funding and revenues that support continued operations. Accordingly, it's my pleasure to present this end-of-the-year report. Many of the major events that are highlighted within this report I'll touch on, although some of them I will omit for purposes of time. In regards to staffing transitions, the city government experienced several key staffing transitions during the 2014 calendar year, including the impact from the transition in city management connected to the departure of former city manager Spencer Nebel, who left city employment in December 2013. Mr. Nebel, to my knowledge, is an individual that's very highly regarded within the Michigan management community, whose long-term dedication and service to the community resulted in the cultivation and lasting implementation of well-oiled municipal operations and whose consummate professionalism has been reflected by a willingness to make himself available to myself and administrative staff. Another transition was the skillful execution of the duties inherent to the city manager position by then acting manager Robin Troyer, who led a municipal response to the deep freeze crisis, managed a budget development process framed by significant challenges such as a 4.18% decrease in the taxable value of the city, and maintained operations in a smooth, efficient manner. The police department witnessed the retirements of Dean Jazuski, Ivan Hartman, and Michael Troyer, and the corresponding hiring of Officer Philip Donne, Seth Bjorn, and Jake Nicholson. Of course, as the Commission is aware and the community is aware, the police department mourned the loss of Ivan Hartman and Auxiliary Police Sergeant Gordon McCloskey during 2014. Other staffing transitions included the return of firefighter Paul Young to city employment following a deployment with the U.S. Navy. The administration thanks Mr. Young for his service to our country. In addition, a prolonged absence from work experienced by DDA Director Justin Nepper following a serious car accident in which he was involved. Justin has currently returned to work on a full-time status, and we truly welcome his return. During his absence, all of the employees of the DDA, including Andrea Kinnear, April Jones, Kevin Killips, Arnie Hillay, and Jim Killips, performed magnificently and assumed many additional duties on their own volition and with reduced oversight. Additionally, the Finance Department experienced the retirement of former accounting assistant Cindy Caruso, who completed 35 years of service to the city, the transitioning of Susan Anderson from the position of deputy clerk to the position of accounting assistant, the transitioning of Jen Nelson from the position of clerk fire secretary to deputy clerk, the hiring of Amber Petrangelo as clerk fire secretary, and the temporary use of parking enforcement officer April Jones in the Finance Department. Of important note, the administration, with the assistance of the clerical bargaining unit, achieved significant efficiencies on behalf of the community by cross-training Ms. April Jones to potentially serve as a cashier in the Finance Department in the future during staff shortages. This will eliminate potential disruptions to services and provide operational redundancy. Another staffing change included the hiring of GIS technician Joe Miller on a full-time basis and the official designation of Planning and Zoning Administrator Kelly Freeman as a department head. The expanded use of GIS has streamlined operations within a number of departments. In addition, the staff experienced the resignation of longtime community servant John Wellington, who served as harbor master and had been involved in the management of the Carbide Dock for over 38 years, and the corresponding assumption of dock manager duties by Ordinance Enforcement Officer Robert Brown. As we all know, former Human Resources Director Valerie Povey concluded employment with the city during 2014, and accordingly we hired Human Resources Generalist Alicia Carr. Restructuring of this position from a department head director position to a generalist position has resulted in considerable cost savings without sacrificing the effectiveness of this post. As well, the staff experienced the hiring of current Information Technology Director Bonnie Raffaelli, who has substantially improved efficiencies throughout her tenure, and also witnessed the departure of former IT assistant Craig Grambeau, who served as acting IT director prior to Ms. Raffaelli's hiring. Of important note, this department during 2014 has not only made several significant improvements, but has also resulted in an expanded ability of their duties to the point that 2 full-time positions are no longer needed. And lastly, the hiring of myself as city manager. Throughout my tenure, I truly have been fortunate to witness the dedication that every city employee brings to their post, and they're truly invested in the outcomes of their work. It's been my pleasure to serve this commission, and I look forward to doing this for a long time, and as long as the commission will have me. Other significant events that occurred were the deep freeze, which, as we heard in previous meetings, required the City of Sault Ste. Marie personnel to thaw over 350 frozen water accounts, excavate and repair the city's water system at 43 different locations, and install temporary water supplies to 19 accounts. The administration was successful with the support of the City Commission in obtaining a CDBG grant in the amount of $968,403 from the MEDC to repair a significant portion of that infrastructure damaged during the deep freeze, and was also successful in obtaining a grant in the amount of $92,930 from the state of Michigan for additional repairs. Another significant event involved labor negotiations. Throughout the majority of the 2014 calendar year, the administration was actively engaged in collective bargaining with 6 of the city's seven bargaining units, representing the police patrol, police command, police records, clerical, firefighters, and public works bargaining units. The commission was able to approve and finalize agreements between the city and the police patrol and police records unit. In addition, the administration has been able to reach tentative agreements with the clerical, firefighters, and public works bargaining units. It's anticipated that further negotiations between the administration and police command will result in a tentative agreement in early 2015. All of these agreements provided a 1.75% wage increase for each of the 3 years comprising these agreements. I would like to express my appreciation to the members of these bargaining units for their continued professionalism and service to the city throughout the collective bargaining process. As commissioners are also aware, another significant event that could impact the community greatly was the decision by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission in the summer of 2014 that required the continued operation and maintenance of the Presque Isle Power Plant following a decision by Cliffs Natural Resources to switch its electrical supplier from Wisconsin Energies to Integris Energy as permitted by Public Act 286 of 2008. The city has joined with the Sioux Area Convention and Visitors Bureau and its other local partners, such as the Sioux Tribe, Lake Superior State University, and many other governmental units in opposing these unjust rate increases that are connected to this decision. The Governor's Office released information on January 13th indicating it has arranged several agreements between stakeholders involved in this matter with the aim of protecting Upper Peninsula ratepayers from the economic damage that these rate increases could afflict. It should be noted that their agreements would provide, at best, a long-term solution, and that we are still advocating for a solution in the short term. Another event throughout 2014 was the Puller Community Building Renovation Project, powered by a $250,000 donation from the Bill and Cecilia Matheson Estate, loans from the Seal and Osborne Trust Funds, significant community donations, including cash receipted and cash pledged, as well as contributions from local businesses totaling approximately $337,908, as well as the hard work of many volunteers and the efforts of numerous contractors and city staff, provided for a project that witnessed the completion of the improvements to the arena, the locker room, restroom renovations, as well as the addition of ADA-compliant seating, lobby renovations, roof repairs, a new dasherboard system, and multiple related improvements. At this time, the city is actively pursuing the construction of an addition on the western end of the building that would house a Zamboni machine, and is also anticipating making previously expected renovations to the Manny Bichet room and those offices adjoining this area. As commissioners are aware, as well, in November of 2014, the city of Sault Ste. Marie was one of 8 Michigan municipalities to be named a best practices community through the University of Michigan Dearborn College of Business eCities program. This program was developed to recognize those local governments that embrace strategic improvement, economic development strategies that cultivate growth and foster entrepreneurialism. In particular, representatives of the eCities program specifically noted the city's close working relationship with the city of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and its effects to cultivate growth in conjunction with Lake Superior State University. As a complement to this eCities award, the city is witnessing expanded commercial growth with several actions being taken by the City Planning Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals to facilitate the development of Meyer. In addition to the Meyer development, the city witnessed the opening of an AutoZone, Jets Pizza, Jimmy John's, and Art Van Furniture Store, as well as either planned or completed construction and remodeling work at Lynn Auto Parts on the Business Spur, Pizza Hut, and 1668 Winery. In regards to industrial growth, the total number of manufacturing jobs within the city increased by 8.4% during 2014, from a total number of 550 manufacturing jobs to a total number of 596 manufacturing jobs. In regards to the downtown, throughout 2014, the DDA worked successfully to procure $497,615 in funding from the MEDC for the completion of historic restoration work on the facades of the buildings at 111 Ashman Street, the office of Lewinsky and Brewster, at the Chippewa County Historical Society, at Island Books and Crafts, a cut above the rest, Salon and Spa, and at UP Engineers and Architects. This funding from the MEDC was complemented by a local match in the amount of $165,212 provided by the various property owners of these buildings, with no cost for this work being passed on to the city government. It's anticipated that this work will commence on each of the projects and each of the parcels by early to middle 2015. In regards to additional service efficiencies, the city witnessed in August the clerk's office implementing a new document management model to aid and assist in the electronic storage and retrieval of city files, as well as work in the finance department to implement the ability for citizens to make payments with credit cards and/or debit cards at service windows within City Hall, as well as payments online. Rounding this out were several technological modernizations, including the launching of a modernized city website, the placing of recordings of city commission meetings on YouTube, the implementation of internal electronic surveys, the bringing of internet LAN access to Sioux Seal, and making Wi-Fi available at the Polar Community Building. These changes represent significant improvements in efficiency and expanded transparency so that residents may more easily access the city government. Additionally, as commissioners are aware, during the month of November, we witnessed historic snowfall that shattered the all-time record for the city of Sault Ste. Marie that had been marked since official statistics began to be compiled since 1888. According to the National Weather Service, the city experienced 65.3 inches of snowfall during the month of November, 20 inches more than the past record. The Department of Public Works and the Streets Department, under the leadership of Jim Moreau and Street Superintendent Billy Anderson, responded effectively to this historic snowfall, and the patience of the community was appreciated during this historic event. Lastly, the administration welcomes Dr. Tom Plager to the Lake Superior State University in his new role and celebrates the university's One Rate at Lake State program, which launched during 2014. In total, the grants and outside revenues received by the city during 2014 totaled $5,095,181. Thank you, Mayor. That concludes the year-end report.
15 minutes, that's pretty good. Commissioner Bauer.
Actually, I was going to say, I didn't think anybody could be longer than Spencer Niebel giving this report, but I think you may have beat him by a minute or two.
As you can see, there's a lot of activity that's happened in 2014. We certainly appreciate that report. Commissioner Lynn.
I do have one question. I don't know if you know this, Oliver. How many total employees do we have working for the city now? Any staff would know that?
Full-time,
Right,
part-time.
approximately 134.
134?
Yeah.
That's
134
everybody,
full-time.
134.
He's rounding.
Rounding. When I
134.5.
was first elected to the commission in 1981, it seems like a lifetime ago, we had over 160 staff. And those were tough times. Kinchlow had left. And, it was good. You got a good staff. Darn
Wonderful
good
staff.
staff.
Absolutely.
That motion to place on file, Commissioner Lynn?
Certainly, I'd so move.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. We'll just go through the formality.
Yeah.
Great, a good report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. There were two other items that you
Okay.
recommended I may address
Yes.
during status report. The first is that the tags for Smith Sanitation, effective February 1st, will be increasing. The red tags will be increasing to $1.66 each. The yellow tags increasing to $3.54, and the blue tags increasing to $2.33. The orange tags and bulky items will be $12.42 each. Additionally, I'd like to introduce our administrative intern who's serving with us during his spring semester, Mr. Seth Harris. We welcome you and look forward to your learning experience being furthered here with the city. Thank you.
Welcome, Seth. Okay, item number 7, matters presented by the public. Is there anyone in the audience like to make a comment? Certainly. Linda Holt.
I'm back. No, I just wanted to remind you that on Wednesday, I've talked to the city manager and the mayor earlier, and the commissioners. I would like to. We have David West coming from Lansing. He is the vice president of Travel Michigan. He's just newly hired also, and he's got lots of enthusiasm. He's young and everything. And at 9 o'clock at the Best Western, anybody can come. If you have, he's doing what they call a listening tour. So if you'd like to be there at 9 o'clock at the Best Western on Wednesday morning, we'd love to have you. I mean, just wanted to make sure everyone's welcome.
Okay, Wednesday at 9 a.m., Best Western.
Best Western, 9 a.m.
Linda, is that an event that we can feel free to float in and out of?
Yes, you
or-
sure can. Yeah, it's kind of like a meet and greet,
Gotcha.
and he'll probably talk a little bit, but he would rather mingle and talk to everybody.
What's his name one more time?
David West,
David West.
young man. He's very well known in the he did the Poconos now mountains and everything, and he's just really enthusiastic and just full of life, and you know, it's in really nice. So you're all welcome. So I just want to make sure you knew that.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay, item number 8, matters presented by the City Commission. Commissioner Tuardi.
Thank you. Just one thing. I know that there's a lot of business activity that's going to be happening in 2015. However, I do want to take the opportunity to thank Wicked Sister to the downtown area. And for those of you that haven't gone yet, it's what an improvement to that property. My goodness. And now I think there's only one place in town where you can get a beer at 8 a.m. But anyway, it looks...
How would you know?
You saying I should open earlier? Is that what
That's
you're
what I'm
saying?
thinking. Yeah, we need more than one. But no, it does look really good in there. The food is really good. I think it's very reasonably priced. The atmosphere is really neat, and so another great place to go in town. So welcome to town.
Certainly, and just a comment, I've talked to a number of folks that have been there, and the food is exceptional, they said. You know, so, anyone else? Commissioner Bauer.
Yeah, two things real quick. Number one, for Jim Morrow, is the DPW still picking up Christmas trees?
Mr. Morrow, come on to the, I see a pile of Christmas trees on Easter Day Avenue, right there at the gate going into the DPW building.
We started a drop-off plan this year, but we are picking them up also. It got a little warm right after Christmas there for a little bit, and they kind of froze into the snowbanks. But we're trying our best. If we're not plowing or pulling snow from parking lots.
No, what
or
I want to
roads-
know is, I mean, if I kick mine to the curb because I still have it.
Oh well,
That's
you
You
know.
know,
I think you asked this last year too. I'm not
I ask
mistaken.
it every year.
You throw it out there, we'll take care of it. So.
Okay, thanks, appreciate that.
Anyone else?
You know what, actually, one other thing, and this goes back to the EDC discussion. And in our minutes, the EDC minutes today, you could see what happened a little bit with the situation with Mako and their purchase of Innovative Composites. And Mako is a business that I would say fewer than 1% of people who live in the city have ever heard of. But they're here and they're employing people. Everybody's heard of Olive Garden. I wouldn't mind seeing an Olive Garden here because I've got two $25 gift cards for Olive Garden burning a hole in my pocket that I can't use that people have given me over a period of time because we don't have an Olive Garden. The EDC has helped War Memorial Hospital significantly, and if you don't believe that, you can talk to David Johns because he was at the last meeting. We have done our best to partner up with Lake State in every possible way to help their growth. If you look at the Smart Zone, if you look at what's going on down there, which of course has not even come close to fulfilling its potential, but I mean Rome wasn't built in a day.
No.
Right? All these things take time, and all these are things that the EDC works on. AMI, Precision Edge, everything that's happened with these, these are some of the businesses that the EDC has helped grow over a period of time. I would invite you, Commissioner Shimmons, because when I said, well, I'll bring that up at the next meeting, I think that if you have a moment, you should come to the next EDC meeting, and then you can voice your concerns to that board, because I feel that if I did that, it would not have quite the impact, or it would not be the same message coming from me is coming from you.
I'm not sure what
I
that
would say,
means.
why don't you come to the next EDC meeting and voice your concerns?
Well, thank you. If you can get to me and let me know when that meeting is, I'd be happy to do that.
It is the second Tuesday of the month at noon at the Smart Zone,
So February 10th.
February 10th.
Any other comments? Commissioner Lynn?
Just a couple of quick things. One, I think you should take his cell phone away from the city engineer. That's just one thing I'd like to point out. I ran into Steve Cannello, city attorney, the other day at City Hall, and he approached me. He says, "Bill, I got a new hearing aid." I says, "Well, how much did it cost, Steve?" He said, $2,600. I says, "What kind is it?" He says, "Oh, it's 1032. You get it? Looked at his watch, it's 10:32. Move to adjourn.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.